All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music on the Harmless Dave channel and doing it in real time for a few real people out here, just like you and just like me. So, some of you are probably aware that AC/DC has announced another tour. I don't know if it's going to be their last tour, but I'm a little concerned that Brian Johnson isn't going to be able to sing all that well. And for me personally, I'm tired of hearing about the Highway to Hell and Hell's Bells and Back in Black. And yeah, is that stuff just lyrics that are meaningless and so forth, and it's all good fun, and it's kind of like Rock You Like a Hurricane, and people say, oh, it's just an anthem. And yeah, I guess it is, but those lyrics get in your brain. Is Brian Johnson really going to shake somebody all night long? uh it's just, you know to ignore the whole aging thing and the appropriateness of certain music today, I think is really, it's, I don't want to say it's disingenuous, but it's certainly just, ignoring what's going on, like the elephant in the room. And someone sent me a message and they're like, "Hey Dave, there's another Brian Johnson, right?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" There's a different Brian Johnson, and you can listen to this Brian Johnson and not feel bad about yourself. So I'm gonna just share this because I think it's kind of cool that there's actually another Brian Johnson. And lo and behold, here he is. That's the other Brian Johnson. And for those of you who like kind of like the rock and roll attitude, he's got tattoos. He's got tattoos, and they're all over the place. They're on the arms. So I don't know. Maybe he's on the highway to hell. He's probably not though, which is good. As far as the other Brian Johnson is concerned, though, yeah, I would say Brian Johnson should have a relationship with God, and I'm pretty sure this one does. So, if you didn't know about Brian Johnson, this version, he is a co-founder of Bethel Music and Bethel Music Worship School, headquartered in Redding, California. He is also a musician, songwriter, singer, speaker, and author. Brian has been an executive producer and songwriter for over 16 albums by Bethel Music and has written and been part of Forever, No Longer Slaves, which is an amazing song, Ever Be, and God, I Look to You, anthem songs that have been sung by the global church. So, this Brian Johnson really having a positive impact on the world through his music and, of course, celebrating the church and Jesus Christ. Brian authored his first book, When God Becomes Real, in 2019, about his journey out of a 6-month nervous breakdown. Brian and his wife Jen reside in Redding, California, with their 5 wonderful children, including Haley, Tia, Braden, Ryder Moses, and Malachi Judah. Malachi Judah. That is full biblical naming right there. In addition, just the other day, uh, Brian Johnson dropped a new single called He Has Done Great Things. Might be a little better than listening to Back in Black and Giving the Dog a Bone or what. Doesn't that sound goofy just saying that out loud? It just is. Yeah, it's just pure innuendo. And here we are talking about he being God. He has done great things. So uh, the song is now available on all streaming platforms, accompanied by a live music video led by Bethel Music co-founder Brian Johnson. The track is part of the collective's highly anticipated album, We Must Respond, set for global release on January 10th, 2025. Now, I imagine it might be difficult to see Brian Johnson in concert. Well, might not be if this collective, as they're called here, goes on a national tour. And you know what? I think at this stage of my life, I'd rather see this Brian Johnson. I know I don't try to get argumentative with people who say, hey, you're going to go see this group or that group. I'm just kind of over it. I'm sorry. I just, you know, things are just not as important in that realm to me anymore. I mean, uh, and as I get older, I'm like, yeah, you only have so much music that you can listen to in a day. And if you're constantly just flooding your brain with certain images, they say, I think it's in the Proverbs, they say a man is what he thinks about all day long. So, um, do you want to think about hell's bells? And do you want to, I mean, and some people say, Dave, it doesn't affect me that way. I can separate what that is with whatever else, is in the world today. But I guarantee you, it's affected people in certain ways where they behave in a certain fashion. Maybe they give a little bit too much credence to this music that they think is harmless, right? But I'm not saying it does harm, but I'm saying it's not the greatest influence on anyone's life. Whereas worship music to me is the ultimate in doing two things at once, praising God and hearing some great music. And a lot of these musicians that you've never heard of, like this other Brian Johnson, most people probably didn't know there was another Brian Johnson. Many of them turn out to be accomplished musicians who can play multiple instruments and who write songs and who do lots of different things. This Brian Johnson apparently wrote a book. So that's pretty cool, right? I think it is. So check out the music of Brian Johnson and the new single, and uh, renew your mind. That's what you need to do. Romans, you read the book of Romans, and you'll figure out that you're supposed to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And if you're not doing that on a daily basis, the world is gonna hit you like a hammer, and you won't know what really hit you. So, anyway, folks, thanks for watching. I know this is a little bit of a weird video, but again, it's the Harmless Dave channel where I'm harmless, but sometimes I talk about faith, and this is a faith-related video, and I hope you can support the channel at some point. There's Buy Me a Coffee, and also there is Patreon. So if you like to have a conversation over on Patreon, that's how you do that. You can do it for like $1 a month, $2 a month, whatever you want. If you can do it, I'm hoping that brighter days are ahead with the economy and so forth. And if you have $1 or two to spend, that would be helpful. All right. Thanks for watching. See you soon.